I've been lucky enough to have had a lot of great challenges to overcome and a lot of great opportunities to drive excellence through. But I think when I look back at my career, one time, which is one of the more difficult times that I've actually worked, has always been very meaningful for me, and I think will always be meaningful for me. One of the roles that I've had in the company over the years was that for about a decade, I was the lead lawyer for our news operations. And during that period of time, we had the American involvement in Iraq and the Iraq War, and that was a very difficult time. You know, immediately following the attacks in New York from 9/11 to the invasion of Iraq and the aftermath, there were many, many issues involving our news coverage of these kinds of issues. And it really formed the debate that I think some people have forgotten that was quite vociferous at the time and not so easily defined as it appears to be now. I remember after 9/11, there was intense pressure for anyone who did anything that seemed to not be patriotic, anyone who might try to question what was then a very monolithic view, I think, about good versus evil, America versus what other forces that are out there, and voices of objectivity, voices of non-nationalism were sometimes criticized and viewed as being a threat and being dangerous. It wasn't easy, I think, in those days to be a lawyer for a non-US media organization that really values objectivity and freedom from bias. People use those words, I think, to associate themselves with great principles, but I really think Reuters has always taken this truly to heart, and we have people who have given up their lives in the pursuit of freedom from bias. And so as a lawyer representing our news coverage during those difficult years, I unfortunately had some very difficult situations that I had to deal with journalists being arrested, beaten, tortured, and unfortunately a number of our colleagues who ended up dying during the Iraq War. And it really made me think about what makes someone care so much about the work that they do, the professional work that they do, that they would risk their lives. And I think even more importantly to me, and I'm a parent, so I think about this a lot, which is, what would make you care so much about the professional work that you would do, that you would risk leaving behind the ones that you love, the people who count on you? It's an incredible commitment to really believe that you're contributing so much to the world and what you're doing, that you would risk not only your own personal safety, but your ability to care for the people who are entirely dependent upon you. And even now when I think about the people that we lost, the colleagues that we lost, it's very difficult for me to talk about it, and I become quite emotional, because even then I realized that they are giving a greater sacrifice than I'm ever going to be asked as a lawyer, I think, to give. But it did make me reflect upon the importance of making choices with how you spend your time. Who do you affiliate with? And are you proud of what you do? Are you proud of where you work? These are men and women who could quite easily have not taken on these difficult challenges and done this difficult work, in a war zone, and covering news incidents in a war zone is quite dangerous. To me, being able to support them and help them during that time was just an incredible honor for me. But it was also very hard, because these sometimes do not have good, happy endings. When we lose colleagues, having to speak to those that we left behind, having to fight to clear the names and reputations of colleagues that you know were good people, but who are being accused of, was this person killed because they were too close to insurgents in this area? Was this person killed because they were careless with their own personal safety? These are questions that people will put forward as they try to analyze what led to a journalist fatality. But these are also personal questions, because you can imagine if your husband, if your father, if your wife, or if your mother was a person who lost their life, these kinds of questions actually are challenges to the professionalism and excellence of this person that you worked with, this person that you loved, this person who is a hero in your eyes. And so to me, I think if I feel proud about anything, is that I was part of a group of people who rallied together to try to do what was right, not when it was popular, not when it was easy, but because it was hard then, and because the world did not welcome what we were saying and did not welcome in those days what we were fighting for, it was even more important.